I'm not going to read today. I'm going to do a commencement speech. Because no one is ever going to ask me to do a commencement speech because, I'm who I am. And so it gets a chance for me to do that and then talk, about you. And then some of you may not have ever heard of commencement speech, if like me, because of disciplinary problems. So anyway, I have to get my hat. I would have had a robe, but I couldn't fit it in my carry-on. So I'll take away my emergency old guy hat and put on this hat. For those of you who haven't had a graduation, this is called a mortarboard. It's because, presumably, during the medieval times when you had to apprentice to be a mason, you didn't get your own mortarboard until you got through your apprenticeship and you graduated, and then they would put mortar on it, and then you could do this. Presumably, the reason that you have it on your head, and they would make the graduates wear it on their head, it was like, okay, you graduated, but get over yourself. It was just a little bit of humiliation at the last minute, and that's why we make everyone wear them when they graduate today. You can order these, 240 of these for $65 online. So if I had room in my carry-on, you guys would all be wearing the humiliation hat, and it wouldn't just be me. But, I couldn't. I would have ordered it, though. I will order things that I already have online because I know I have it, but I don't know where it is. But if I push this button, it will be on the porch tomorrow. So, I know there's an HDMI 2 cable around here somewhere, but boop, now it's going to be right there. So anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about, though. When I was a kid, all you could get delivered to your house was milk, the newspaper, and potato chips. I'm from Ohio, so it was, I'm not proud of it. I just have to confess it, because I don't know if anybody else delivers potato chips. They would give you this 5-gallon can of potato chips. And then in a week, you would put your empty can out, and they would bring you a new can and filled of more potato chips. And I think the fortunate thing that I left in 1979 is that everyone else in my neighborhood has died of heart disease from eating subscription potato chips. And anyway, so that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to give you your commencement, your makeup commencement if you've never had one. And so that's what we're going to do. And then I have to do some tassel management later on. I had a job where I had 2 tassels, but not one, so I'm not good at unitassels. As this is my orating gesture, gesticulatory thing. As I look out over the fresh faces of you wide-eyed graduates, coming down from Ritalin and Adderall, bubbling with enthusiasm and crippling student debt, I am reminded of lemurs on an island in the Indian Ocean that is soon going to be overwhelmed by rising seawater. Preparing for this occasion, I listened to a lot of commencement speeches, and most of them said that the thing you're going to have to do in life is face your fears. And since this is my first commencement address, and very possibly my last, I'm going to say that too. So, you should face your fears, because they are but illusions put in your mind by insecurity and doubt. Much like that one Doctor Who, where the alien went into your brain and found your fears and presented them to you as different kinds of cheesy robots. And why has no one ever thought to give a lozenge to a Dalek? I mean, if you think about it, just one soothing lozenge, and no more exterminate. You just pop it right in his little suction cup mouth. And he'd be like, oh, thank you very much. And then, anyway, you've learned something today. Anyway, so face your fears. Probably the worst that will happen to you is, in most cases, you will be embarrassed. And shut up. And embarrassment is a tiny hardship. When really horrible stuff happens, embarrassment will be the least of your worries. So don't be afraid. Never give in to your fears, unless it is of fire. It's probably healthy to be afraid of fire. And maybe spiders. Speaking of those two fears, if you happen to have a poisonous-looking spider in your house, and he's back in the corner and you're not sure you can get to him with a magazine, do not take like a can of WD-40 or hairspray or something and spray it over a lighter to get the poisonous spider, because that is an expensive lesson. So maybe spiders. And snakes, but no, not snakes. Face your fears and do not be afraid of snakes. Respectful, yes, but afraid, no. Because when you find your fear of snakes rising, as I think all primates have, you will find that wherever they go, they have to drag their junk across the ground. And that can't be pleasant. This is the way I overcome my fear of public speaking. As I look out on your wide-eyed graduate sharks, totally illegitimate fear of sharks, especially if you're in salt water. Fear of sharks anywhere but in the ocean, though, is largely a waste of time, much like setting goals. So life is an adventure, and what makes an adventure is discovery of the unknown. I do not know the gesture for the unknown. Of the unknown. Yes. Did we do the adventure part? Yeah. So I'm going to not, so like your education, I'm going to try and not prepare you for much so I don't fuck up your adventure. Someone, probably my friend Darren, once said, college doesn't teach you anything except how to learn. Your education prepares you only for more education because you don't know shit. And I am no different than you. That said, here are 14 things that I know. 1, if you live to be old, your regrets will be for those things you didn't do, not the things you tried and failed. I know because I am old. You have to try your wings. I shouldn't gesture that. You have to try your wings before you can fly. Otherwise, you'll never know if you can. Unlike penguins. When penguins see birds that can fly, they feel like losers, despite how nicely they are dressed. So don't pay that much attention into how you're dressed. 2, the only point of being an adult is you can eat cake for breakfast. And you don't even have to pretend it's a muffin. This is much more effective if there are children at the breakfast table. They'll ask you, why do you get cake? And you say, because I'm an adult. It motivates them to grow up. Number 3, if you talk long enough, you're going to say something stupid. So even if people let you, shut up. I think I've made my point. Most people don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan. I heard that in an insurance commercial once. That said, be impulsive, get lost. That's get lost. Take off without a plan. I forgot where I was. Oh, smell the flowers, watch a sunrise, sell some oregano to kids as weed. Number 5, your coach lied to you. The reason you didn't start in a sport is not because you didn't work hard enough in practice. It's because you suck at sports. But the good news is now that you're graduating, that will never matter again. Coaches, like most other people, are liars, just dumber. I never had boy, when you say that in Green Bay, they get cheesed off. And all they got is football and cheese. So just, let that be a lesson to you. Anyway, they get cheesed off. I never had a coach who at some point didn't say that he wanted everyone to give 110%. I think I made my point. Number 9, spelling doesn't count. Number 6, counting most of the time doesn't count either, unless people are around you are being really bitchy about it. Number 8, the steam from the sewer grate was not the Ninja Turtles cooking. I think everyone knows that they only eat delivery pizza. Number 10, religion is mostly bullshit. But it can give you comfort when things go to shit. So find a religion and stick with it until it embarrasses you to admit you're in it. If you get good at your religion, you can bring other people into it and become a bodhisattva, as we Buddhists say. If you meet other people you can date, you can become a bodhisattva, which I know is a horrible joke, and yet I will not stop telling it. I may have even stolen it off of somebody on Twitter. I don't care. So modify your faith to your needs. Your religion is as lenient as you let it be. I think we've proven that with all the evangelical leaders supporting a pathological liar and serial adulterer. I know. Can I get it? That would be a good time to say, can I get an amen? But I think we're being, anti-religious at this point. Number 12, that little mark between the scenes in a book is called a dinkus. That is the only useful thing you will learn here tonight. Someone brings it up at a party now. Oh, no, it's a dinkus. Okay. Number 13, gluten is bullshit. You can buy bags of gluten at Whole Foods. I like to go, and while everyone who has a much more important life than me, because I have never found I need to ask questions about the vegetables that I eat, and everyone else there seems to, you can buy bags of gluten. As I go around the store with my cart full of gluten, I like to put a bag in everyone else's cart. Then when they get to the checkout, they too will understand that gluten is bullshit. Sometimes they'll even say it aloud. They're like, this gluten is bullshit. I didn't put it in here. Nevertheless, I know if you're celiac, it's very dangerous and you could explode. I don't care. Number 14, a true friend can and should tell you if there's a booger hanging out of your nose. And this is the proper way to do that. Bat in the cave left, bat in the cave right, and then turn away. If you're English, crusty dragon left, crusty dragon right. But a true friend does turn away and allow them to fix it. You don't watch. And then when they turn around, you go, am I good? And say, yeah, you're good. Okay, so. Number 15, and this is for just the guys. That little tube that a tampon comes in, blowgun. Once you really get to know a gal, you can help her with that. Number 16, in these times of cultural insensitivity, you will often be tempted to blurt out the phrase, your mother's a whore. You should probably avoid that because someone's feelings could be hurt because their mom is probably a whore. I have to have water now. Brought here from Fiji. You can smell Fiji. No, you can't. It smells like water. Anyway, number 17, there's a pretty good chance that you're gay. You probably don't know it. It's okay. We love you just the way you are. But you're going to have to raise your game. You're part of a minority now. Or, if you were a minority before, more of a minority. Of course, if you're already gay, you're probably mistaken and you're actually straight. So check your privilege. Number 23, people in your life are going to die. You're probably going to be mad about that. You should get some practice with goldfish and turtles. Then work your way up to cats, dogs, and horses. Houseplants do not count because they don't just die on their own. It's usually something you did. If you're going to be a murderer, you can count houseplants. That's okay, they were probably assholes. Number 18, once while you're young, you should get hammered and sleep face down on a corduroy pillow. Look at yourself first thing in the morning in the mirror. This will prepare you for the future. Number 19, and one that is very, very close to my own heart, squirrels are cool. Be nice to them. Sure, that one that ate the wires to your Christmas lights or built a nest out of the filling on your patio chair cushions may boil your wontons, but it's not going to be a chronic problem because squirrels have an average lifespan of 12 months. So you don't want to spend a lot of energy on squirrel revenge. Time is your friend when it comes to squirrel revenge. Number 20, in ancient Siam, it was not permitted for anyone's head to be higher than the king's because the height of one's head was indicative of his status both socially and spiritually. That'll be on the test. Sorry. Life is a struggle. I did a speech one time in Milwaukee across from one of the universities there, and so they sent over American Sign Language interpreter, even though I was pretty sure everybody in the audience could hear. But what was great is I was doing a whole bit about looking stuff up on Google, And I said, you can look up anything and get a result. You can Google hamster love and get a result. But the best thing was saying hamster love, and then everybody turned to the American sign language interpreter and then would say it. And so we did the whole rest of the night just saying stuff that we wanted to see how you do it. The only one I remember was bullshit, which was... Anyway, so back to your graduation. I'm sorry, that was... Life is a struggle. I don't know if that's ASL for struggle, but it seems that, could be if, anyway. And as you go through life struggling, you will do many things, many frustrating and pointless things. But as you go, try to remember to take time to go to the zoo. Look at the giraffe. Consider the giraffe. Recognize that he, like you, is a badly designed, silly creature. And yet, his butthole is higher than your head. And as you stand before the monkey cage, still at the zoo, watching their carefree play, you will wonder, would I be better off spending my days swinging gleefully in the trees, howling, shagging my roommates, shitting into my hand and flinging it at strangers? And the answer will be yes. Number 21, you are almost certainly going to get VD, although not at the zoo, probably. There's almost no way around it because people are basically liars or stupid, but that does not mean you won't sleep with them. In fact, those two things often complement each other, and the only way some of us are going to get laid. When I'm changing subject, because there's no dinkus here on the page, I used to think that, well, wait, that's the wrong gesture. I used to think that everyone, upon graduating, needed a course in Life 101 for things like how to turn on the gas and electricity, how to open a bank account, and how to fill out a job application. Now you have Google. So all you really need to remember is stop, drop, and roll if you're on fire. If you're on fire, you're not going to have time to Google that. So the other thing you need to know is where to steal Wi-Fi. So I recommend, in addition to stop, drop, and roll, know how to steal Wi-Fi. You can find nearly everything you need to know online, from fixing a dishwasher to mixing up some methamphetamines to explosives to watching people have sex with various animals. Although, pro tip, if you are interested in that last part, don't do it while you are stealing Wi-Fi on your visit to the zoo. So you don't actually have to know anything as long as you don't lose your phone. If you lose your phone, you are a beast. In conclusion, don't applaud. Don't shag anyone you don't like or who doesn't like you. Suffering is overrated. Don't pursue it. Ask for help when you need it. Don't when you don't, and learn to recognize the difference. Don't confuse movement and progress. Words have meaning. Truth is important. Honesty is important. Hypocrisy is bad and relevant. Actions have consequences. This has really gotten by a lot of people lately, and so I thought I would just make that as a reminder as you go forth into life, having an adventure. Anyway, be kind, be forgiving, and pay attention. Graduates of the class of 2018, go forth and make me proud.